right, welcome to the Crude Show after Warrior basketball. The Warriors beat the Bucks in overtime. Steph Curry took that thing over. Welcome to the Pig in a Pickle Crude Show, brought to you by Pig in a Pickle, best barbecue in the Bay Area. Check them out in Corte Madera and in Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week in Marin County. They're open 5 days a week, Wednesday through Sunday in Corte Madera. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in the Bay Area. And we come to you live from Scottsdale, Arizona tonight on our New York-style Italian sausage, road trip to Scottsdale, our spring break, extravaganza from Scottsdale. And we'll have lots of baseball stuff for you in the weeks, in the days, weeks, and months ahead. But guys, I welcome in Rye and Danny, who are at Danny's place in the 55 and over community. Bay Area baller, who I just discovered my 13-year-old told me today, or maybe it was my 21-year-old who told me that Bay Area baller was today, by the way, very momentous day for the show. This is our 1-year anniversary of starting the channel, and today in the last live stream, we reached 15,000 subs.
That's
and
big
my son
time.
told me that Bay Area Baller was the very first person to comment on any of our live streams. Very first person in the chat.
Wow.
In the history of the chat.
Wow.
Bay Area Baller. And of course, Frank Red in the house as well on the bottom of the screen. Frank, good to see you, man. Guys, this was an incredible basketball game that, man, if you had bet the Bucks, I think it was Bucks -3 or something like that? What was
it was Warriors -3.
Warriors -3. If you had the Bucks getting 3, you were feeling pretty good, and then all of a sudden Golden State goes on that, the 8-0 run or whatever, and Steph Curry just made big shot after big shot, and I thought it was really interesting as well that Steve Kerr went with Dante DiVincenzo instead of Jordan Poole. And
don't tell me about it.
It's a pleasure because, guys, Danny had a multiple team parlay tied to basically 2 points or 3 points from Jordan Poole in the overtime.
Poole had to get 15 points. It was an 11-leg parlay.
Jeez.
That would have won me. It was plus 1250, and put a Benji on it.
Wow.
And
that's a bad beat. You might want to call Van Pelt SVP and get on there with Stanford Steve.
Here's what it was. The rundown was Clay to get 20, Steph 25, Steph 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 threes made. Clay three pointers made. Lopez to get 15. Grayson Allen to get 1 3. Lopez to get 6 rebounds. Holiday to get 15 points, and Jordan Poole to get 15 points. They all hit except Poole, and he
didn't even step on the floor.
Warriors get the 125-116 win. By the way, senior softball game's already trying to get under my skin. Light the fucking beam, he says. The Kings win tonight as well. Sacramento, a 128-119 winner. How about that? Kings win 128-119 in Phoenix. Warriors win almost identical, 125-116 at home. But guys, let's go around the room and as we often do in these post-game shows, and let's get everybody's primary takeaway from this thing. Frank, let's start on the bottom there with you. What did you think overall? Good win for Golden State. Curry took it over late. Give me your takeaway from the game.
Yeah, excellent win, and I was kind of on the same wave that you were on. I think Coach Kerr was kind of throwing his hands up in the air to management, fans, and everybody else, and particularly to Jordan Poole, and saying, listen, if you're not playing well, I'm going to play the best player. And right now, Dante DiVincenzo is clearly playing much better, and I think his teammates trust him more. So that was beautiful to watch him play a style of basketball that's reminiscent of him going back to Villanova in front of the team that traded him. So I got a man crush on Dante, man. I just love the way that guy plays basketball. It was awesome. I'm not surprised by what Curry does. You're talking about a generational player, my Joe Montana of the NBA, if you will. You never think that he's not going to get it done. And I think tonight was just representative of what this team is capable of in a series. So it's simple math. The Warriors can still win a championship. They don't have to win one game on the opposition's floor, and they have the ability to do magical things at home. So this was fun for everybody. It was a beautiful game to watch.
Baller, what'd you think? What was your takeaway in this one? Exciting game. It's funny. The Warriors keep making these kind of statement wins. I mean, it has not been a fun year as far as, I think they've played beneath what at least I thought they were going to do, but they did find a way to beat Memphis earlier this year. They did find a way to beat the Celtics earlier this year. And then of course a big win tonight. I don't want to say they're sending messages because they're still horrible on the road defensively. But you heard Steph tell Lisa Salters there at the end. He's like, it's a work in progress. It's coming around. The Warriors feel like they're going to work their way into a championship rhythm where we're going to find out if it's possible. What did you think of what was your takeaway, Baller?
Steph Curry put the team on his back in the fourth quarter and in overtime and led the team to victory. But before that, we have to acknowledge JaMychal Green, right? Both teams started out the game slow offensively, but JaMychal kept the Warriors afloat, hitting 3 threes in that first quarter, finished with a season-high 18 points. Frank acknowledged Dante DiVincenzo, who was spectacular, 6 of 12 from three-point range, 10 rebounds, so a double-double for Dante. And what I love about Dante is he brings it every game, and I'm talking about the way he attacks the offensive glass. He's flying in, soaring for these rebounds. I love the way Dante DiVincenzo's been playing, and it was a revenge game. Remember, the Bucks traded him away. They traded him to Sacramento.
Yeah.
So it was a revenge game for Dante. He showed up. It was great to see. And then back to Curry. Not only was he great offensively down the stretch, although Drew Holiday made him a volume shooter. He was kind of struggling midway through the game, but he turned it on late. That's Drew Holiday. Credit to Drew Holiday. He's a really good defender. But Steph turned it on. And how about the stop defensively late in that fourth quarter?
On Drew.
Yeah, the block on Drew Holiday. It was just beautiful defense and led to a big win that the Warriors needed.
I like this kind of old man kind of. Sometimes like he just kind of looks like he's fed up, Curry. Like, but in a great way. Like, he had a run there where it just felt like he was like, look, man, even when he gets it going, he's always down for other people to eat. He's always looking for other people. He's always passing up a great shot. But he had a couple moments down the stretch where it was like, 4 guys are on me. I don't care. I know I'm en fuego right now. I will score this basketball if I just get any like teeny little look. Hey, Buster. And so I was just, that's the biggest thing for me is just, look, if Curry can play like this and get into a rhythm and the injuries don't hamper him, then the sky's the limit for the team. It's really, and I thought Baller, great point with the offensive rebounds from DiVincenzo. He looked like he was out to prove something. He's been slumping a teeny bit, and he looked like he was like, look, this is a great game for me. I'm going to get the start, and I'm going up against my former team. And he had some extra, chutzpah tonight. And I love the point of the offensive rebounds because that's what I was sort of trying to like say to Cy the other night is like, he was, talking about how they lost Otto Porter Jr. and how it was this, but like DiVincenzo's an awesome rebounder as a guard. It's just like, who really cares? Like if you're bigger or smaller, they're like, as long as you get the production, who really cares? So yeah, it would have been the heartbreaking loss. Heartbreaking.
I love the combination of DiVincenzo and Steph as far as their rebounding. What a phenomenal rebounding duo that is. Danny, can you go beyond your Blake Sable to give us a breakdown?
Yeah, I think, let me talk about Blake. No. Hey, the boards tonight, 3 guys, double digits, Looney with 15, Draymond with 13, and DiVincenzo with 10. A double-double for DiVincenzo, 20.
Plus 17 on the glass for Golden State, and they battled. I think they were only -2 points in the paint, something like that.
Yeah,
So
I'll tell you, Here's my takeaway. Steph Curry is the Tom Brady of the NBA. When he back to the wall,
Are you saying the ball was deflated? He deflated the basketball.
back to the wall, the back's to the wall, and they looks like they're down like 8 with like what, 2 minutes, minute and a half, something under 2 minutes. They were down by 8.
He just took it over.
And he hits back-to-back threes. I'm telling you, my statement is this: when Steph Curry is healthy, I don't care what kind of year that the Joker's having, Giannis or Embiid, I'm taking Steph Curry as my guy.
I mean, Javon Carter was like annoying as hell to
He's
Steph.
a good defender. He was a good defender at West Virginia.
And he even like went down and hit some threes on Steph, and like it was pissing Steph off. And then Drew's having a day. So just the fact that he was able to reach in his bag when he's going up against really good defenders. And I mean, I don't know. Were you guys kind of surprised that they allowed him to get a 3 off there at the end, down 3?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah.
I'll say this too. I thought the Drew Holiday 3 that was just monster late.
Amazing.
Oh my God.
That was one of the best shots I've seen all year from any player. And that thing was incredible.
That was money.
He shot that with confidence.
Yeah, he did. It's funny. My 13-year-old, we're on this road trip in Scottsdale, courtesy of the New York Style Italian Sausage Company. My 13-year-old said it's Bucks. He said, "Dad, it's Bucks or Celtics. It's Bucks or Celtics to win it all." What kind of wisdom does my 13-year-old have? Do you guys agree that it's Bucks Celtics, or we threw this out, was it few days ago? You can, the NBA Finals, who do you got? I think I went Clippers Celtics with the Celtics winning, but man, we threw it all around. I mean, people went Denver, people went Lakers, people went Philly, people went Denver, there was a bunch of different ride, or was it ride? Somebody made an argument for Pelicans, or was it Psy?
Psy, yeah.
Psy, yeah. So, I mean, do you agree with my 13-year-old that Bucks Celtics are 1-2, 2-1 at the in this race for the finals, or do you think we're discounting the Warriors? We're discounting the West? What do you think?
I think it's Bucks or Celtics in the East for sure. I don't see anybody else coming out.
I agree. I don't believe in Philly, Dad. Does anybody here believe in Philly?
No.
I mean, just as a frustrating team, like I could see, for example, I think Boston would beat Philly. Like I would feel super confident about that. Philly kind of gives Milwaukee trouble, just in kind of a weird way. I could see that's where it could be so tough in the East this year. Like, the Celtics or the Bucks do not want to have to play Miami in the first round, and the Knicks are coming on strong, and they've been beating good teams in the East. And then Philly's just they're a wild card, but they're tough. And I mean, they almost beat that Raptors team that won the title. So I don't know. And then the Cavs can make some noise. So I'm hoping sort of that, the East kind of beats itself up, sort of like how the West used to with the Warriors. And then LeBron would just kind of, it seemed like he was half asleep, going through the East because it was such a foregone conclusion. That's hopefully there's like no real, it's just not as tough, I guess I would say.
I think Philly could be dangerous. I think Philly, they got, obviously they have Embiid, he's a top 5 player in the NBA, in my opinion. You got James Harden, who, he can still score the rock. Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris. Those are 4 good players. And then they got a couple of young wings. They got a Melton and a Milton. Okay, Milton and Melton. Both those guys can shoot it. Last I checked, they were hovering around 40% from 3-point range, those guys. So in a series, if they get hot from distance, I think they could hang with the 2 top, because there's 2 top teams in the East. It's the Bucks, it's the Celtics, but I think Philly could hang around and have a long series with
Philly could win a series. It depends on the matchups, but any team that has James Harden, I'm sorry, they're not going to go anywhere. James Harden will, just go into playoff mode and just, take the ball and
Take the air out of the ball.
Shot clock down to 3 seconds, and then just hoist some threes. And
he's not the primary guy though anymore. It's not the
No, he's
Houston
not.
squad.
He's
Embiid is Embiid's the man.
Harden.
I actually think Philly's problems are internal. If you watch them the last 4 minutes of the game, they're just not in shape. They make mental and physical mistakes. The type of mistakes that generally Boston doesn't make unless they're playing the Warriors, and Milwaukee doesn't make. So Philly has the best player. Embiid is the most talented player. But I'm tired of seeing him shoot fall-away jumpers from 8 feet to lose games. If that guy goes down to the block, there's nobody can stop him. If he's in tip-top shape, when I think of Embiid, I think of Moses Malone. And Moses Malone did not allow Philly to lose that championship back in '83. All right? Now, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Faux.
There you go. Faux. I think the Bucks are a tough matchup for the Warriors. I think that the Warriors can beat any small level team. So as good as Boston is, I'll take the Warriors because Boston doesn't have a player as good as Steph Curry, particularly in the backcourt, as good as they are. So I like the Warriors' chances. If they can get a Boston matchup against Milwaukee, I think it's really, really tough.
Yeah, it'd be tough with Giannis and Brook Lopez down there.
How the hell did the Lakers let Brook Lopez go? Like, he was on that team like when LeBron first got to LA, and he was like a minimum guy. And he's awesome.
Good player. Very good player.
Is he really 5 blocks?
Yeah, is he going to maybe be defense player of the year? They were saying that on the broadcast. That would be wild. I just don't even understand how you do the math of like Giannis like just won defensive player of the year, and now you're going to give it to Lopez, and Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league. That's just like a lot of defensive accolades for one team.
95.7 Brian says best win of the season for the Warriors. Well, interesting to see that Jordan Poole didn't play a single minute in overtime. I'm just saying. Look at that. 95.7 Brian says, I'm just saying.
Hot topic. Let's go.
Is Poole destined to be dealt this summer? Or do you guys think he's a long time? Is he a short timer or a long timer going forward with Golden State? Because I think this year has been very it's been and I guess it's a great year for him because he got broken off, but I think it's exposed him as just he only plays half the court, man. He only plays half the court.
I'd shop him around, Larry. I'd shop him and see what you can get for Jordan Poole, see what the interest is around the league, because it feels like it's just not quite a seamless fit. He loves going ISO, and the Warriors have built this fluid offense with ball movement. It's just not the scheme fit.
Yeah, I mean, it's Kerr doesn't trust him at the end of the game in overtime, and that's why DiVincenzo's in there, and that's why you're going to see in closeout games, you're going to see DiVincenzo and Peyton. I mean, I'm telling you, this team, when Wiggins comes back, and if GP2 comes back healthy, and they go into the playoffs healthy and clicking, they only need like 3 or 4 games together, at the end of the year. And if they do that, I don't know how you're going to beat them in a series, because they got the biggest problem the Warriors have right now is perimeter defense. They get past the guys, and then they don't have anybody to, rim protectors. And that's why, they all have to crash in, and then they just kick it out to a wide open 3, whether it be, angles in the corner or whatever. I mean, that's their problem. When you got Peyton and you got DiVincenzo and even Steph and Clay and Wiggins and all those guys that can rotate and guard guys, they're going to be hard to beat. And that's how I believe the plan is if they go up against Milwaukee, is they can use that perimeter defense to hound those guys. So that's the game plan. That's why they traded Wiseman really in essence for GP2, is because GP2 is a guy that does the same things that DiVincenzo does on defense. He's a great rebounder, and the one plus that Peyton has over DiVincenzo is the lob game on the baseline. So
that was a horrible move, trading Wiseman. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. That's just.
Well,
I
I
agree with Frank. Come on, man.
I mean,
This is
that's terrible.
The guy had double the other day. You
Absolutely
saw that move
terrible.
he had last night.
He's not the right fit though for the Warriors, though.
I mean, but he's a chip. You know what I'm saying? He has value.
Danny, your condo in the desert is not quite the right fit for me. Can I get it for $50K? Will you sell it to me for $50K? It's not the right fit for you, but I'm thinking I can get it from you from $50K.
Sometimes you have to take a loss on things in life.
I don't know about that.
$1 million loss? No, I'm not doing.
I don't think.
Would it have really hurt them to just stick him on the end of the bench and deal with it this summer?
Exactly.
But they needed the capital, the draft picks, to use to funnel off to Atlanta. Then Atlanta funneled them to Portland.
We don't know GP2's value. Let's be honest. We don't know. We think he's going to come back and be awesome, but we don't know. They're winning games with the team that they have right now. I mean, if he can play better than DiVincenzo, and I also think that Iguodala is not playing well, but I can watch him and see he's getting his timing back. He's making mental plays. If he can play 7 or 8 minutes a game of intelligent basketball, that might be enough, because we don't know if GP2 is going to come back. We really don't know.
Yeah, and I think, the thing with Wiseman, I think Wiseman has potential to be really, really good, but I don't see that him being a dominating force for maybe 3 to 4 years.
It's kind of like Joey Bart. It's like, I like Joey Bart a lot. The guy's got all the tools. I still think he's going to be successful. But when you have a guy like Blake Sable, you you just have to.
I thought you were going to say Austin Wins. Yeah, you can't keep Wins as bad out of the lineup. It's, by the way, great comment in the chat here from 95.7 Brian, who says, excellent game for Jermichael Green tonight. 7 of 10 from the floor, 4 of 9 from the arc, 6 boards. If he plays like tonight, then he'll be a nice rotation piece in the playoffs. I agree. Where the hell has he been all year? I mean, this guy, there's nights where it looks like he can't throw it in the ocean. I mean, there's nights where he takes threes and I'm just screaming at the TV set, no, don't do it.
And also, you yell about some of the fouls he commits. He commits some wild fouls, but tonight he was phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. If they could bottle up this Jermichael Green effort, and you could tell me that this is what this guy's going to do for you, he becomes one of your really valuable bench pieces. I mean, but we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen it. Are you guys of the belief? Steph did the interview with Lisa Salters, and he's like, hey, she referenced how bad they are defensively on the road. And he's like, hey, we're working on it. We're getting there. They've been bad on the road defensively. They stop nobody. Are they going to be able to flip a switch in the playoffs and start to stop people defensively? Or how do you guys envision this going? I mean, it's hard. I mean, if the Warriors go on some incredible playoff run, what does that say about the NBA regular season? I mean, it's like, are they going to – this is like kind of – if the Warriors win the title, are they going to cancel the regular season going forward and just say, we'll just start in the playoffs? I mean, what good is the regular season if the Warriors can – if any team can just totally sleepwalk through it and still kind of flip a switch in the
beauty
playoffs?
Of the playoffs, it's kind of like March Madness. Sometimes you have years like, remember NC State, Jim Valvano's team that won it all. They were like, Cinderella. Sometimes that happens. Teams get hot the right time. I think playoff basketball, March Madness it's just a different level, and it's fun to watch. And I think it makes the sport, all the better. I don't think you need to say that the 68. I mean, look at the Warriors, 7-3-9 team. They didn't win it.
You're a media guy, Larry. Listen, the networks love it. Let's be honest. The networks can't get enough of it. The Warriors playing in the finals, deep into the playoffs. They don't care what the Warriors' record is. They want to see Steph Curry on TV doing what they're doing tonight. DiVincenzo.
Oh, yeah.
So, playoffs are totally different.
Remixes, congrats on 15K. Thank you. Spencer Alsey says, still want to hear what Ryan has to say about the Sacramento Kings, because he said the Warriors would easily pass them. Oh, Ryan, look at that. Spencer Alsey is getting I told you so. I told you so.
I mean,
I almost feel like this is a radio show suddenly. You know, I told you so's. I mean,
I might be a little more
radio.
combative if I just wasn't so sad because I have all those bets on like Phoenix or the Warriors or the Clippers to pass the Kings, and they just are lighting a beam all over my face. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, good on the Kings.
Who would win? Let me ask you guys a straight question here. Who would win a Kings-Warriors first-round series if we got it? Probably won't get it. But if we got that, who would win first round? Warriors-Kings.
Warriors in 6. Warriors in 6, maybe 5, but I'm going to give the Kings the benefit of the doubt. The Warriors have been there and done that. I got to see it from Sabonis. I got to see it from De'Aaron Fox. I got to see it from the rookie Keegan Murray, who I like. Malik Monk is finally kind of turning into the player I think a lot of the GMs thought he would be coming out of Kentucky, that vacuum scorer. But I got to see it, man. I'm rolling with the Warriors.
I'm going to go.
Whoa.
Did you hear that? I hope my brother heard that. Light that fucking beam. Light that fucking beam. Warriors in 4, bitches. There you go, right there.
Whoa.
There you go. It's late night, and the kid's in the other room.
I'm going to
Warriors in 4. Light the beam.
I'm going to say 6 or 7 games. And the only reason why I would bet the Warriors, the only reason is because of Steph Curry. That's the only reason. They don't have Steph. But if you look at their roster, 1 through 15, they got a better roster. The Kings have the best bench in the league when you consider offensive and defensive talent. There's no team in the NBA.
They're loaded. They're deep.
Oh, my God. They are loaded.
So playoffs going to go 10. The first round, maybe 10, 11 max. And then as you go further in the playoffs, it gets down a player or so, whether it be 9 and 8. It's what's that saying? They Ball, you might know it. Play
Dan, are you saying strength is not in numbers?
I think in the regular season it is, but I think in the playoffs you tend to, especially as you get later in the rounds, you tend to go with 8 guys that
not them.
I don't know about that.
Not Mike Brown. The Kings have more guys on their roster who are capable of scoring 30 points than any team in the NBA. That's how good they are. And that's just my eyes.
And they could, I don't know why some teams do shorten the bench when the playoffs. I guess just because the game changes, it gets a little slower. Defense gets tighter. They trust certain guys more. But
at the end of the playoffs, I think you see that more.
Yeah,
when you get right down to the conference finals and the finals, You're right. Some teams, feel like they can. It comes down to it's almost like certain pitching staffs. We've seen it in baseball. You get to a certain point in the year and the pressure's dialed up, and it's like, man, I can only trust certain relievers. And it's like the same thing on the bench in the NBA. It's like, hey, the money's on the table. I can only trust certain guys. I think that's why Iguodala's on this roster, because at the end of the day, with the money on the table, Steve Kerr trusts Andre Iguodala, and he doesn't necessarily trust some of these other guys. And if you say, why is James Wiseman a Piston? There's your reason right there. He didn't trust Wiseman either. The chat, we've had some great chat comments here. We got this one from Brian Iglesia, who's hot. 95.7 Brian is hot. He says, Steph is the Mahomes of the NBA. That's a great freaking comment. And then for a couple for Danny, we got to make Danny comfortable here. MF says, why is Farhan hiding? Just a random one. And then this one made me smile too, from Paul Perriman. Larry and crew are half the media coverage in Arizona for the Giants. Half? I don't know about half. We're probably about 75, 80%.
That's so true. I also wanted to point out the one great storyline I'm sure will come up if the Warriors play the Kings in the first round is it'll be a battle of over I think it's either the last 8 or 9 years. It's going to be a battle between one team that's never lost a playoff series in the Western Conference and one team that's never won a playoff game.
Wow.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Oh yeah, they haven't been in the playoffs. Yeah. No, it's it'll be exciting. I mean, it's going to be crazy where teams end up. I mean, they change. I mean, the Warriors went 5, then they went tied for 6, probably the 7th, losing the tiebreaker to Dallas. Now tonight Dallas loses, so they're back at 5. I mean, the one thing I don't really want to see the Warriors in the first round is playing them finishing 5 and Phoenix 4 with a healthy Durant. I think that might be a situation where if they ever can get bounced in the first round, that would be the team, because Phoenix has had their number this year without Durant. And that to me is the toughest first round matchup I'd rather play Denver.
I got to clarify, because I think some people I might have presented that in a confusing way. I just mean over since this Warriors runs, like the year they won the championship, so like 14, that since that point, I'm saying the Kings have not, because they haven't even been in the playoffs, so they haven't won a playoff game. And then the Warriors have never lost a playoff series in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I surmised you meant that. That's what I thought you meant. Yeah, actually.
Motivation Gaming says Dubs win, Mavs lost. Dubs currently the 6th place team in the West. But guys, we kind of buried one of the major leads here. And that is, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Warriors are not sure if Wiggins will return at all in the playoffs. Did you see this? He's missed 11 games due to personal reasons. He hasn't played since February the 13th. And according to Steve Kerr, his return to the team this year is not a sure thing. He says, I think that's when he was asked about Wiggins returning, but really there's nothing. We're giving him his space, as we talked about, as he deals with something that's way more important than the game. If he's able to come back, then that would be great. If he's not, then that's the case. Whatever happens, we handle it accordingly.
They can't win without him.
No, they can't win without him.
They can't win without him at all. But I mean, is that just something you say to further support your player, or do you think it's, because I've heard what I had heard that Wiggins could play, right away, or I might be playing right now if the playoffs were on, but that doesn't sound like that at all. That doesn't sound like the situation at all.
It's kind of interesting, because I'm all about players having their privacy, and I look at him as a human, but I'm not like a rabid Warrior fan. I'm a Warrior supporter. I'm a Knick fan, but I pose the question: at some point, as loyal as these fans are, do they deserve something a little bit more? I don't know. If I was a fan of the team, I don't know how I would feel. Obviously, there are many things bigger than basketball, but to not have some way to emotionally support him or do something else, if I was a Warrior fan, that would kind of put me in a difficult situation. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Frank, it's a great point, but it's like, and I would never, we don't know what we're dealing with,
right?
Here.
Absolutely.
So, and it's like, what if it was something that had nothing to do with Andrew and everything to do with, I don't know, one of his children, and what if it was something that was, it wasn't what if it's a life and death situation involving one of his family members?
I know.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but maybe it would be nice if we got some kind of clarification on, I don't know, the neighborhood of the issue. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a family guy, and, I believe in everybody, this is what he does, right? It's not who he is. This is his job. Like, would any of our employers ever have the right to, our personal family information and that kind of thing? We didn't make it privy to them. It's like, I don't know how to weigh in on this. It's just, it's like anything you say with any kind of definitiveness, you're going to look bad, and you're going to sound insensitive, and you're going to sound like you have no perspective. And the one thing I love about this show with you guys is that all you guys have, we all have tremendous perspective. I mean, we're not just sitting here just screaming, where the fuck is Wiggins? Right. It's like, what I mean? It's like, we understand, but it is open-ended, and it does kind of almost lend itself to speculation because of non-information.
Yep.
The lack of information almost makes you in some way speculate, because we have no idea what the deal is, and we can't even talk in any concrete terms about what the Warriors' chances are or how things could or could not go, because he is the one of 2 or 3 players in the entire roster in the prime of his career. They need him desperately. Whoever said it, I think Rye said it, they're not winning without him. I agree. I think we would all agree with that. So
it's like the JFK assassination. If they just release the documents, at least we could know, like, all right, we know what happened. But instead, everyone's going to recklessly speculate.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's the people who point at us going, you're. But I mean, we're kind of left with nothing, and he's a key member. And if you told me that he was going to be back, then he just needs time. Then that's one thing. But now that Kerr's talking, I mean, literally, they've been playing basketball since September, and it's now March, and they're not going to fight for a title if they get there till June, and it's just an awful lot of time to invest if they're actually and knowing what we know about the team, that if they don't have Wiggins, they are absolutely dead in the water. I don't know. It just seems like I'd like to kind of
here's a question.
Have a little bit more clarification.
When the Buffalo Bills DB literally almost died in front of the world's eyes, I think the sports landscape changed. We're smart enough, and I think that we're human enough to differentiate basketball from a human story. And I just think that there's a lot of people from an emotional standpoint, forget about basketball for a second, they care about this guy. They're invested in him and his family and everybody associated with him. And to not have something, just kind of, I don't think Kerr was flip it, but it just sounds like, oh, well, he might come back, he might not come back. These Warrior fans are, I mean, they consider these guys like part of the family. You know what I'm saying? So, that's my take on it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I don't know, obviously, what's going on. It's a tough situation, but
you don't know the details of what's going on?
Well, I do, but I can't reveal it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. If I could, I would. But
can you mime it out, maybe?
You should tweet that out. Don't have inside information on Andrew Wiggins.
My question would be this: do you think the Warriors, if they knew for sure that Wiggins was not coming back this year at the trade deadline, would they have traded Wiseman? Because they're not going to win a championship without Wiggins.
All I'll say on the Wiggins point is, I hope the best for Andrew, whatever's going on. And I miss watching him on the court because he's a really fun player to watch, whether he's dunking on somebody or just playing really good defense. I mean, the 3-point shot really just feels like it continues to get better. So I miss Andrew on the court. And, we've been talking about these defensive woes all year. And part of that is, Wiggins has missed chunks of the season at different parts, whether he's sick or, he had the injury. And when he comes back, one player on the court, that's 20% of your team. So if a good defender like Wiggins comes back, that could be a huge addition defensively in addition to what he does on offense. But like you guys said,
yeah, and the other
Warriors, they're not winning without Andrew.
Right. And the other factor is, let's say he does come back and it is something that is continuing. It's a family mat, whatever it is he going to be 100% mentally to be able to be effective? I mean, these guys aren't robots. You don't just wind them up and they go play. They're human beings that have emotions. And if they're taking that on the court with him, it could be a factor because he's kind of a guy that is, quiet kind of guy. Kind of reminds me a little bit like Kawhi Leonard, is his emotions. He seems like a guy that needs to be fully engaged because that's what one of the things people have accused him of over the years is, he doesn't look like he's mentally into the game, But when he is, he's one of the top 20 players in the game. But
I thought the way he played last year in the finals was awesome. I mean, the way he defended, the way he rebounded, the way he kind of, to me, he kind of redefined his career. by the way he played in the finals. One of the things I got to ask you guys, and I think I felt like I saw it in this game tonight, and that's why, and I got to get your thoughts on it. I even jotted it down when I saw it. The Warriors are a disaster on defense at times, and they've been really bad defensively on the road. But look at this game, as far as the fourth quarter. Now, I don't want to say it was just simply DiVincenzo for Poole. I don't want to point the finger that much at Poole because I don't really believe that. But you did have Poole sitting, who's a horrendous defender. You did have DiVincenzo in there, who is dogged in his effort on the defensive end. So that made a difference, there's no question. But I guess the word I would use to describe the Warriors' defense this year is disconnected. And in this game, even without GP2, without Wiggins, they just looked more connected on defense when it mattered, when the money was on the table at the end. Didn't they look a lot? They just looked a lot better defensively. And I'm sitting there watching this and I'm going, this team gave up all kinds of, easier points early in the game. And yet at the end of the game, they locked it down. And I kind of wonder if I don't know if it's fatigue, if they're just a little disconnected, if they're going to get connected together in the playoffs. But when you watch today's first half and then watch today's fourth quarter or tonight's fourth quarter against the Bucks, it makes you feel like they might be able to kind of flip a switch communication-wise and effort-wise and energy-wise and kind of get reconnected on the defensive end. And maybe our concerns about them on defense are maybe we should not be as concerned about their defense. Maybe they will have the ability to kind of reconnect, refocus, and show defensive stopper ability in the playoffs. Give me your thoughts on their defense early in this game, guys, and then their defense at the end. They just look totally – it's almost like two different teams.
It depends on who's on the court. If you got Poole and Jerome out there, they're just going to keep driving by those guys. They're cones. They don't play perimeter. They can't guard. So when you put the 5 on there, played in overtime, you're going to have tight defense. But they can't play 48 minutes.
Baller, that was really good math when you said 20%, because it really does put it into perspective. It's like, 20% is like a lot.
One player's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and like when you're missing, like obviously Curry's a big example, but he is the best offensive player on the team. And it's like when he's out offensively, it just is such a big difference. And then, but it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just like a little harder to kind of tell about the defense, but I mean, it's sort of the same thing. I mean, if they have Wiggins and GP back, that's a pretty damn good defensive team.
I think Dante playing. Sorry, Frank. Dante playing in overtime really improves the defense. I mean, Jordan Poole, he gambles. He gets posted up. He makes poor decisions on the defensive end. So just swapping that, you saw the improvement right there.
I think Dan's point is phenomenal. Yeah, that's one of the best points I've ever heard you make. You made quite a few of them, but
that's hilarious. I thought you were talking about Dan, like from I think what I could have swore I heard. I thought Frank said Dan. That was a great point. That's what I thought. Well, that's what you said, actually.
Oh, I did.
Oh,
Dan, I'm joking. Dan, that's a great point. I'm telling you why.
I'll put Dan in the center square. Let's change this up. We got to get Dan a little bit more love. I mean, if he's going to be called out like this, there we go. Oh, look at that. There's a handsome man with a handsome Warrior hat.
Dan, there's a great coach. He used to coach at McClimus High School. Dwight Nathaniel won a state championship about a decade ago. I think he should be in the California High School Hall of Fame. But what he taught me as
Walter McKinnis?
No. Walter, no. But what he taught me was to look at defense from quarter to quarter. You have a totally different perspective when you forget about the other quarters and just kind of fixate yourself on the quarters. How are teams playing for X minutes of time? And when you look at the Warriors, like you said, it's usually one of the guys that you name who lets the rope lets the rope go. And the leads become insurmountable. But when the Warriors have their best defensive unit out there, they're actually pretty connected. So, just like you guys are saying, they can't play 48 minutes a game, but there are periods within every game over a 6, 7, 8-minute period in which they are playing phenomenal defense. Tonight, it just happened in the fourth quarter. But every game, they're playing good defense for a certain period of time. And I think that you nailed it tonight in the fourth quarter with that particular unit.
Jaguayo56 donates. He says, congrats on 15,000 subs. Dubs win, and my twin boys are celebrating their 30th birthday. Jaguayo, congratulations to you. Twin boys.
Twins.
That right there.
Awesome.
It's a great thing, and a 30th birthday deserves congrats.
Each one. That's great. Thank you.
By the way, are any of you guys, do you have the Arizona UCLA game on? Because it's a really good game. It's 54-52 Arizona, or 54-52 UCLA with 6 minutes left. But it's just kind of crazy watching the college game. Like, Arizona is just doing a phenomenal job of feeding the post and getting their big guy in great position and giving entry passes. And it's like, it's just weird. It seems like people don't even know how to throw entry passes correctly in the NBA.
Sun out there.
Yeah, Sun out there.
On
who you guys, by the way, does anybody have a pick for the tourney? Because isn't today Selection Sunday or tomorrow Selection Sunday?
I have a few long shots that I took early in the year that I'm kind of rooting for. I don't know. Marquette is going to be a really hot name, obviously. They've really come on strong. Texas was really impressive today, beating Kansas. But I kind of think this year might be a funky winner.
I kind of like Purdue. Have you guys seen much Purdue this year with the big man?
He's good.
Zach Edey.
I love Zach Edey.
Yeah,
I like him too.
And they're well coached.
Let's go.
I like Purdue. You know what? I think this might be the year the Zags cut down the nets.
Wouldn't that be like kind of poetic? Like, this was the one year when everyone really truly wrote them off. And I mean, they've got an eighth man, or an 8th year, leader like Timmy, and this is the year when no one's, the expectations are off. I could kind of see it. I also think, I think St. Mary's does a shot of making it back to the Sweet 16. Yeah, Kerr's got a freaking sweet shot. He just had a big 3. He's all kinesio taped up.
Kerr's kid plays for
Houston too. I don't know how much you watch the Houston Cougars. But
wait, I don't think
Cougars are good.
Wait, I'm seeing Kerr Carissa. Are we sure that?
Is that not Kerr's son?
We might have.
No, that kid's from Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think his first name's Kerr, but Kerr's on the back of his jersey.
It's only one R, though. It's only one R.
Oh, we kind of thought maybe U of A, Kerr.
No, Kerr's kid played for San Diego. He used to. I don't know about that.
Wait, I was doing that in my head. I was like, wait, didn't he go to San Diego and then maybe go to Cal or something? But yeah. Oh, the big.
But anybody else got a sleeper team or somebody you're looking for?
I want to throw out 95.7 Brian. He said in the chat, don't sleep on the Aztecs of San Diego State, and I'm pulling for them because I used to play adult league basketball with this kid Darion Trammell, and this was when I was probably 25. And Darion was in 8th grade. He ended up going to SI too. Larry went to SI. Darion Trammell. He's playing. Comes off the bench. Comes off the bench for the Aztecs, so I'm pulling for them. He's a little 5'8" jitterbug point guard, really athletic. So, hey, I'll be pulling for the Aztecs.
Frank, you got anybody you like?
I like Kansas, but at the same time, I tell you right now, I think Duke is playing the best basketball right now. These kids are young, but they're really, really talented. So keep your eye on the Dukies. That'd be awesome.
Hey, I've actually, I thought I did when you said San Diego State. I've got a future on them, 10 to win $660.
On Duke?
Oh, no, on San Diego State.
Oh, okay.
But it's just because they're such a good defensive team. And you know what? That last year, I'm sure if you're kind of locked on San Diego State, like San Diego State last year, I thought could have made a really deep run. And they played a really good game. I forget who they lost to in the first round, but it was just one of those.
Our buddy Digital Drew says there are sophomores and juniors in high school who've never seen the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Think about that for a second. That's incredible.
Here's a sleeper. I'm taking Al McGuire's Marquette. I know they're not the Warriors anymore. They're the Golden Eagles, but Marquette is a team that
They might be a 1 seed, honestly. Now
is a coming on. They're playing. They just beat UConn the other night, right?
or they beat UConn tonight, stomped them.
Was it tonight or
Yeah, I know.
I thought UConn.
Maybe
lost.
it was last night.
No, UConn lost.
It's all blending
I'm not
together.
sure.
I see rules. Jaime Jaquez, I think is going to be a decent pro. I like him.
For the Bruins.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
him.
how many years has he been at UCLA? He's like the Timmy of UCLA, hasn't he? Been there like
No.
4 years.
Oh.
It's like
His
his fourth year.
Who's older between Timmy and Andre Iguodala?
Oh my god, this game is going down to the wire. Like, look at that. Like, just the fact they were able to get that post touch in.
Yeah.
You just gotta love to see
56, 3 and
3 minutes left.
Oh,
and
man.
I don't, I'm not super, there's a lot of names I recognize from this UCLA team, but apparently they lost their best defensive player. Is that
Jalen Clark? Jalen
Clark.
Yeah.
By the way, there might be too many Jalen's now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was cool. I know, like Jalen Rose, he's made up the name, but there's just so many Jalen's that now I'm just like, it's like my own name, Ryan Smith. It's like, it's so common now that I can't get these Jalen straight.
Yeah.
Sorry for the people in the chat who are, we've got a couple people in the chat who are proliferating stuff. So I'm trying to stay up on it. Someone says, Krug, you need a moderator.
Yeah,
you need a moderator on your chat.
Too bad the Niners drafted the wrong Jalen Hurts they drafted Hurd instead of Hurts.
Jalen Hurd instead of
Maybe that's what they meant to do. They were like, put in the card for Jalen Hurts, and they just wrote down Jalen Hurd.
Look at this one. This is a great one from Nick. He says Timmy had to miss a game to attend a high school 20-year reunion.
Oh, by the way,
I'll say this about Timmy. Timmy's got ridiculous drop steps and down on the block, man.
He's polished down there.
He can, most college big men are going to foul out against Timmy.
He's got a podcast, so I think he's like, I'm going to play one more year after this, and I'm just going to ride this notoriety and could become a media guy, maybe go play in Europe.
Joe Schmo says Timmy's a teacher.
Yeah.
So,
if Luke Garza can hack it in the league, you don't think Timmy can kind of carve out a spot?
Well, I think Garza's 7 feet. Timmy's 6'8" and change, probably with limited vert and length and all that. And I like Timmy. To me, if you got drop step moves, you should be able to score. You should be able to do something. I mean, come on, he's too skilled to not make it in the NBA.
I thought Omar Samhan had a chance.
I don't know if Timmy he doesn't have an outside shot, so down low he's not
How's his face-up game from like 15? Because that's the shot he's going to have, right? He's got to hit it at the top of the key.
Hey, MF saying don't sleep on UCSB. They actually look really good.
They have some talent.
They do.
There's a lot of good, that's Frank, this is another part one thing I've been doing a lot in the last couple of years is I've been watching a lot more kind of I wouldn't call West Coast basketball, but like UCSB, Colorado State, Nevada,
right.
Utah State. Some of these conferences that were just like these teams are just fodder. First of all, they wouldn't make the tournament, but if they did, they would just go out quickly. Now there's several teams out west that will give you a good run, and if you're not ready to play, they'll beat you.
I can't think of his name, but UCSB's coach was a former assistant at Arizona and at Cal. And he's a big-time recruiter. And, I mean, he's one of these analytical guys that really beats the streets. So with the portal open, if you know the players and their tendencies and you get them first, you don't have to go down. You can be a good team every year. And I guarantee you teams like the ones you're talking about are very, very aware of where the players are. So, I'm not surprised how good they are.
Yeah,
Jim Martinez says he knows me too well. He says, "Yeah, when you bet it, you watch it, huh, Larry?" LOL. Exactly. When you're betting Colorado State and Nevada and all these games, Utah State, but Big Tuesday or whatever they call it. I'll admit I've wagered on a few of those games, but my point is that the caliber of the ball and the caliber of the athletes that are winding up at some of these schools, you would to me, that was almost like glorified high school at one point. Like not worthy of watching at all. Now you could see some good players. You see some quality ball. And
it's
it's impressive.
It used to be a little bit more like college football, but now, I mean, kind of the beautiful thing about the one and done is there's all these kids that, superstar kids that are a little raw and they're kind of just playing, half just to make the NBA and look good as a prospect and half to kind of, compete. And it's like, because of that, these teams, these smaller teams, like, of course, like a St. Mary's or whatever, if you're well coached and you can bring in transfers and then you have kids that, stay all 4 years, maybe stay a fifth year. So you have like older kids that are more experienced, probably better coached, and you have like all these veteran transfers. And it's like, you can compete against now like a team with, 4 freshmen that are total studs. Cause it's just such a curveball, which is really cool.
San Jose State has a player, Antonio. I can't think of his name now, but I think San Jose State is going to the tournament. If they won yesterday, it was semifinals or the finals, but they got a guy. I mean, Ness has come in there and basically 1 or 2 years turned that program around. He's actually being considered to be Cal's next coach. So, the players are out there. You got to take some risks, but if you hit it right, you can turn your program around right away.
Red, do you watch more NBA hoop or college hoop?
I would say NBA is more accessible, but I like college basketball. I watch a lot of college basketball. I think UCLA could actually win a national championship. I mean, they're good.
They always say guard play is the deal in the tourney. Do you think we need to update our way of looking at it, or do you think still elite guard play gets you in and through the tourney?
No, I think definitely guard play is what most people focus on. You look at Marquette. I've got the guy's name. Is it Cooley or whatever it is? They got a point guard at Marquette that's putting 20 and 10 on the board. He's awesome. So it's definitely guard play. There's a lot of good guards out there.
That's where I ran into Seth Davis. This was before the college basketball season even started. I ran into Seth Davis in Berkeley, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, who's the favorite? Who do you think is the college basketball team? Try to project." And he went with the Tar Heels. He told me North Carolina Tar Heels. I just Googled it now. It sounds like they're not even going to qualify.
They're not even going to make the tourney at all.
Yeah.
Pick the team.
So Steph led me astray on that one. Now, I used to watch a ton of college basketball back when, Sheldon Williams and Sean May were going at it, and Arizona was rolling with Hassan Adams, Mustafa Shakur, Channing Frye. That was my era where it was like I loved watching college basketball. Players stay.
2005 was the Illini
right around there
in St. Louis against Sean May,
Darren Williams. Little D, the point guard, Luther Head, James Augustine down low.
Yeah.
That was like, man, I loved that era of college basketball when guys stayed 3-4 years. Now it's kind of hard for me to.
Well, let me give you an idea. They're projecting. Now, this is Joe Lunardi. We'll see about how it all shakes out tomorrow. They're projecting 4 teams from the Pac-12. Earlier this season, they were projecting maybe 2 or 3. But now they're saying 4 teams from the Pac-12 are getting in, but then 3 Mountain West teams are getting in, 2 teams from the WCC. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, think about that. There's more Mountain West and WCC tournament teams than Pac-12 tournament teams. That's a departure from decades ago for sure.
I want to see just like Pac-12 should just say, you know what? Yes, we lost UCLA and Arizona. Okay, our football's a little bit screwed, but I think they should just have a thing that. Sorry.
It's down to 20 seconds, down by 1, a 3-point attempt. Arizona, go! 60-58. Arizona with 16.7 seconds. Wow.
That was a terrible play-by-play, fellas. I have no clue.
That was the worst. If that was play-by-play, that would be the worst of all time.
Coach of Santa Barbara is Joe Pasternak.
There you go. There you go.
He was an assistant at Cal, and I think he's got a good shot at getting the Cal head coaching job.
I think he does too.
Yeah, if you want to sound like real smart, and people are talking about like going into the tournament, AJ Mitchell is the kid's name.
From UCSB.
On UCSB,
he's
total
good.
Stud guard.
He looks like a pro player.
Yeah,
to me.
he's already played pro basketball. His dad was like a European legend, or like Belgian legend.
Yeah, this guy
he's just strong, and he just looks like.
Watch that name in the tournament. He was the player of the year. Last year he was freshman of the year in the conference. This year he was player of the year. The guy can shoot, got a sweet touch. Free throws. I think last night he was 10.
How big is he?
He's like a 6'5".
He's like 6'5", like built.
He's a lefty.
Yeah,
he's a lefty.
One super chat, guys. G-Code Travels Vlog POV, which just rolls off the tongue. Would 49ers offer a trade package of picks to move down, or if a team who wants to move up in the late third round, only to get Kinlaw off their hands? Only to get Kinlaw off their hands. I don't know what's going to happen with Kinlaw. That's a great question, really. Lynch has publicly supported him, but that doesn't mean anything. And I think they would like to trade him, but I don't think he has any real trade value. There's no advantage in cutting him on the cap, so I don't think he'll be cut. But I also know that they're not happy with what they've seen. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there.
For his fifth option, is that they didn't pick that up, right?
No, the 5th-year option they did not. So he's one of the topics I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, because we haven't talked about this. It's just happened. I just heard it the other day. The whole back and forth, and we saw the Memphis beat the Warriors. Dillon Brooks, talked a big game. Talking a lot of trash to Steph that night.
I'm sorry, Larry, to cut you off. Do you want Dan to do play-by-play for this last?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Danny.
I don't know.
Play, Danny.
UCLA's got the ball top of the key down.
Oh, he dribbles off his butt.
Gets it back. There's 8 seconds left. He's driving to the hoop. He goes, kicks it out to the corner. There's a foul. Oh, see, I don't know the players. If I can do play-by-play.
What's the guard's name with the big hair on UCLA? Is it Caleb? Something. Oh,
big-haired guard.
Campbell. Paris.
Campbell.
Okay, so he's.
Go ahead. Do you have it? Go ahead, Danny. Can you finish?
It's getting boring.
6.8. It's 2 free throws, or is it 1-on-1?
Yeah, Tiger Campbell's name is.
Yeah, Danny? Can you give us a? It's all over, but the crying.
Give us a first free throw.
I think we're going to get an Arizona shot at a buzzer beater.
Yeah, I think they're going to call timeout. He's going to make this shot. They'll call timeout. Then it'll be 60-60. This could be a second another overtime game tonight. I'm telling you, that Warrior, he did make the. No, he missed it. Arizona rebounds. Arizona. He went in. Bounced out.
Right, you're funny, dude.
I totally don't have money on this.
Yeah, you do. That's why Rye's interested in this game. I could.
It's because I bought something and then I was like, you know what, Dan, instead of Venmoing me, can I just have $28 of your FanDuel money? And then so I bet that on like a Warriors parlay and it hit. And then I was like, you know what, Venmo me the winnings, but let's keep that 28 in there. And then I was like, let's put 28 on Arizona at plus 260
so
or whatever.
This 28 is probably going to hang in there and just keep hanging in there.
Yeah.
But what did you guys think of the whole Dillon Brooks, Draymond Green situation?
Man, I'll tell you the others beyond that. I think what Dillon Brooks was doing to Steph the other night, he was yapping in his ear as Steph, they were beating him pretty good and he was giving it to Steph. I don't know what he was saying, but to me, that's just stupid because you're
pretty dope that Steph backed up after that because he looked pissed and we were all kind of saying the fact that he came out like this.
Yeah, and they're going to play again and Steph ain't going to forget that. And Steph's going to tell Draymond and Clay and those guys are going to come out and want to just smoke Memphis. I think they'd like it if they had Wiggins with them, but darn, I don't like Dillon Brooks just because I would
love him on the Warriors, to be honest.
I don't think he's that great of a player. I think he's good defensively, but I think his I'll just say lack of self-control cost his team a lot. He's already been suspended for too many technicals, and he takes his team out of the game's momentum. He does dumb things, and I think he's dirty. That kick that he did in the who was it that he kicked in the right in the groin? Donovan Mitchell, was it?
You know, like a couple of years ago, everyone could have said this exact thing about Draymond.
It's like you love these guys if they're on your team, but you hate them if they're on the other team.
Yeah.
But there's something about Brooks. First of all, there's something about Memphis. It's like, dude, you're talking about a dynasty. You can't talk dynasty before you've won a title. I thought the Chiefs sounded like jackasses when they were talking after beating the Niners about how they were going to win 7. And they had just won the Super Bowl, and they had the great young Mahomes and Andy Reid as a head coach. So it's like, I mean, I didn't like it then, but I guess I could have understood it. I don't understand Memphis talking at all. I mean, win something, right?
Dillon Brooks' 3-point. Sorry, Rye. Dillon Brooks' 3-point field goal percentage in general starts with a 3. He is shooting 39% from the field. So he's a bad shooter. I can't stand Dillon Brooks. We all know about the dirty play on GP2 in the playoffs, and he likes to just run his mouth.
Yeah,
all that. I can't stand Dillon Brooks. And if your field goal percentage starts with a 3, zip it.
And there you go.
I mean, he's dirty. He's a dirty player. Red, what do you think?
I want to have some empathy for him because he's so out of bounds from a mental standpoint about like the bigger picture. I don't think Memphis is even going to re-sign him. You know, they can only sign him for X amount of dollars. So for him to arbitrarily talk about other teams in the way that he does, I think he's limiting his market value. Leave Draymond alone. I mean, Draymond's a Hall of Famer, dude. You're barely. I mean, your career horizon is not vast. I think he needs to be quiet and just go out and play basketball. Or the NBA has a way of getting those types of guys out of the league, and I don't think that he understands that. And that's unfortunate for me because, you know, I love to see home run stories, and he's one of those guys who should not be in the league, but prove that he deserves to be there. But to talk to Steph Curry, are you out of your mind?
That's the one that is.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off. That's
like talking to Jordan. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
Give me a break.
Yeah, he's yapping and ripping Curry. Like, what have you done, Dillon Brooks? What has the Memphis Grizzlies done? You haven't even been in the conference championship, you know. And
is his coach helping him? I mean, Kerr would tell a Warrior player, be quiet.
Yeah.
Right. Where's the advice? Is there not any veteran player there that can say, bro, shut it?
Yeah, Steven Adams is the only adult in the room. It seems like it's kind of insane how they went from like the most likable sort of like everyone. Oh, Jaws, so fun, like, and now all of a sudden it's like, what do they do?
They haven't been the same since Shannon Sharp took on.
Yes, I know. I love that. I love that.
I'll say this. I don't know. Maybe the problem is with the coach because he doesn't seem to have control.
He's a good coach, though.
He's a good coach.
I think he's a good coach.
But does he have control of his team? He seems to let his team get out of control emotionally. He seems to like that them getting up and pushing it to the limit. But I think it's a detriment at times because they're an immature team. They are very immature. Not just Ja and not Brooks, but a couple of other guys. Jaren Jackson. I mean, he's talented. He's very talented, but these guys lose their cool and then they start turning the ball over. And then we saw it last year. And to me, I think Red makes a great point. Are you helping Dillon Brooks when he has that many T's and he's losing control and he's out there flapping his mouth at, probably the most respected guy in the NBA in Curry? And he's giving it to this guy. Why don't you just say, hey, Dillon, pick a different guy?
Mm-hmm.
Brian, 95.7, Brian says Dillon Brooks is shooting worse from 3 than Draymond Green. Brooks is at 31.5%. Draymond's at 32.7%. Teams laugh every time Brooks shoots the ball.
He'll shoot you out of he'll completely ruin you trying to
outta
get your pick going.
I mean,
So
you can't sell
we're
that.
gonna cut this a little short because I got a 13-hour drive back to the Bay tomorrow.
Hey, I got to tell you a quick
So-
story today. Giants, we're in the clubhouse. I think it was right before the game, and
Right.
we're talking to Blake. And
Blake who?
Blake Sable.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
It-
Now you're
it's
just on a
Blake.
first name basis.
He's talking to Blake, Larry.
He's talking to Blake. Yeah.
And he comes in with his catcher's glove, brand new catcher's glove, and he's
Talking
just
to Blake.
breaking it in. It was in the
I was
steam
talking to
room.
Bob the other day.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
go
in the
ahead.
steam room. So he gives me the glove, and I put it on, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. But I go, how long does it take you to break it in? He goes, oh, I just, I catch with it until I get it broken in. And then, so I got to take a little credit today. I kidded him. I texted him and I said, hey,
don't drop the text too, Dan. That is some name drop.
You're texting Blake Sable?
3 for 3.
Dan Cochimilio is texting a Rule 5 draftee?
I said 3 for 3, 2 walks, on base 5 times, bunt single, stolen base, another single, a home
two
run,
first to thirds,
a first to third, couple times. I mean, I'm like, dude, you gotta let me. I'm gonna have to break.
You gotta
in
let
your
me
glove.
finger your glove.
So
How was my guy Piscotti doing?
Piscotty's
Played
having
third today. He played third.
Yeah.
in a pinch because I
like Piscotti. I think Piscotti. They're very left-handed, Frank, in the outfield. They could use Piscotti. By the way, MF weighing in on Sable. Even MF just calls him Sable. He doesn't call him Blake.
Mm-hmm. Or
maybe,
you can
maybe Danny. Why don't the first NorCal Sports Network T-shirt? By the way, everybody in the chat join Danny's NorCal Sports Network. How about Blake Rakes?
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about doing.
Did I hear Rye yesterday say that Blake Sable is the Brock Purdy
yes
of the Giants?
Yeah,
That's a big statement.
We tweeted that out today, or I did. I said,
you tweeted it?
Yeah, I tweeted out.
To make it official.
I said, after his first hit and then he stole base, I said, is the Giants Blake Sable? Is he the Giants Brock Purdy? ? Then he hit the home run after he hit a single, then a home run. He was 3 for 3. I said, Blake Sable is Brock Purdy.
Well, Larry, what do you think of? Wasn't it kind of fun where it was like, Sable, then Schmidt, then Diaz? It's like, okay, these are some kind of fun younger guys
VR,
with some power, and then VR was playing. Like, it's like, okay.
I'll tell you my takeaway. If you said give me one great Giant takeaway from this weekend in the desert, I'm gonna go with Casey Schmidt.
Yeah,
he's the real deal.
He's the real deal. He played shortstop today. He's got great feet, great hands, tremendous defender. He plays third. But the fact they played him at short and they don't really have a backup at short, and then you watch this kid, he's raking. Every ball is a line drive in the gap. That kid can play. That kid is absolutely the real deal. I'll say it right now. If tomorrow, you're deciding you're buying a Giants jersey and you actually have to invest, a couple $100 or, at least 150 in a jersey, I'm buying a Schmidt jersey. I don't know about that number because I think he's wearing like 93, right, Danny, or 91 or something like that.
That'll change sometime.
That'll change. So I don't know if I want to buy a jersey at all, but you know what I'm saying? If I was actually going to buy a jersey of a Giant player, it would be that guy, Casey Schmidt. But two basketball questions I want to ask you guys before we get out of here. Who would you say is the most underrated player in the league? Who's the player that you just think this guy is freaking awesome and nobody talks about him? Who's the most underrated player in the NBA?
I'm gonna say Dante DiVincenzo.
That's a good call. Frank's going Dante DiVincenzo. I'll tell you, I'm going Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I watched that game the other night against the Warriors, and that's a great player. I mean, that guy's so strong, so skilled. The ball's on a string. What does he go, 6'7", 6'8"? He's got handle. He's got guts. He never complains about the fact that he's in goddamn OKC. He's okay with that. That guy is something, man. He is something. He gets my vote for most underrated. Every time I watch him, I have newfound respect for him. He finishes through contact, and he's gotten strong. So it's like he squares up those shoulders, draws those fouls, he knocks those shots down.
Yeah, he's an all-star player. He's good.
I got a guy
Who do you got?
I don't know if he's the most underrated player. I don't think he is, but he's a guy I'd love to have on my team. You saw him tonight, Drew Holiday. That guy plays
he's a winner.
Defense, and he
Great
can
defense.
shoot. And I said to Ryan tonight before the game, I go, oh, dang, they don't have
the Ryan right there next to you?
Yeah. I said, they don't have Giannis tonight, but Drew Holiday is like Kawhi Leonard. He's kryptonite against the Warriors. He kills the Warriors. And then he hit that three to put him up, 111, 108. And I was thinking, oh, there it is. And then, of course, Curry made the shot to put it into overtime. But Holiday is a guy that he's a guy that can get you 30. And then, some nights he may not even get you 15, but he plays solid defense, and he's just a championship player.
The
Ryan,
player
who's your
that's
underrated
jumping
guy?
into my mind.
Yeah, who's
a
the baller? Who do you got?
Yeah, every time I watch this guy play, and I'm talking about Austin Reeves of the Lakers.
Yes.
Every time I watch this guy play,
He's
it's like
underrated.
he's making impact plays. He's hitting threes. He's sneaky athletic.
Mhm.
So Austin Reeves is a guy who jumps out at me. And another player is Kelly Olynyk. I've been an Olynyk fan since he was dating back to his Gonzaga days. I just think he's really skilled. So Kelly Olynyk, and then a player, he's not under the radar. Everybody knows Donovan Mitchell, but I just want to mention that he's a superstar. Donovan Mitchell is playing just outstanding basketball. The Cavs, they don't have that much depth. That's why I don't think they can come out of the Eastern Conference. I was watching them play, Okoro, good defender, but not Cedi Osman's getting a bunch of minutes for him. So the Cavs, they're a couple players short, but I like what they're building with Mitchell, with Mobley, with Allen. So Donovan Mitchell's a superstar. I wanted to mention that.
I'll give you another sleeper guy, and I can't believe how good this player is. I just never, I don't know, maybe I just haven't really ever watched him enough, and I didn't like it when I heard him linked to the Warriors earlier this year, but now watching him with the Lakers, I'm like, dang, and that's Malik Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
Malik Beasley is a damn good basketball player. I mean, that is a really underrated player. I think the Lakers had added a lot of good players, but Beasley is, too bad Golden State couldn't have gotten him, guys, because he would have made them a better basketball team with a better chance to win the title. He's I don't know if he's just in absolutely the prime spot in his career, but he just looks, every time I watch him, he makes the right basketball play. And so he's like smart, but he also has a little bit more strength and size and power than you think. And he's got a little bit more range and face-up ability on his shot than you would think. Malik Beasley's nice. He is really nice.
And he fits in any system, really, because he's fundamentally sound. Thinking of Beasley, though, I just want to mention somebody's name that we haven't mentioned tonight. I thought Moses Moody played really good basketball tonight.
Yeah, that's a good call, too.
He played really well tonight, and he played more like a small forward. And I think I think that Kerr should put him in that position because he can utilize his all-around skills, and the emphasis on scoring isn't as heavy as it is when he comes in as a two guard. So I really like his contribution tonight.
Couldn't agree more, Frank. And I was noticing some of the his lateral speed. It seems like maybe it's like almost like decreased in a weird way. But I love seeing him get that offensive rebound put back. And yeah, totally agree. All right, my guys, I'd go with. Well, I think one that I would have went with, but it's no longer it counts as like an underrated guy, I think, is Jalen Brunson. Mm-hmm. Like everyone just completely glossed over last year the fact that they won series and were awesome without Luka. And everyone is so quick to just like, because everyone wants Luka to be, this next guy. And everyone's so quick. Oh, Luka doesn't have any help, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're just going to get rid of Brunson. Well, you see the effect this year. It's freaking massive. And Brunson's completely galvanized the Knicks organization and city. And then another guy kind of similar sort of dude in my mind, and he's having a little bit of a down year compared to what he normally does. But Fred VanVleet is just awesome, total stud. Always does the right thing. He plays the right way. Then one more. Okay,
They were shopping him earlier this year.
I know.
Anybody in the league could have had VanVleet.
I know, and then
he's one of the reasons they won the title.
Oh, absolutely! I thought he should have won Finals MVP. But and then speaking of the Cavs, I'd say Donovan Mitchell's backcourt mate. I love Darius Garland.
Oh yeah,
that guy. It's like I don't know. He's like kind of cut from the Curry cloth a little bit. Like he never forces it, but he can score when he has to, and he always makes the right play. And he seems like a guy you'd want to play basketball with. Very last one, Derek White. Derek White, super underrated, been super underrated for the Celtics this year. He was kind of hit or miss in the finals, but he's just one of those guys that's like, you don't really realize like how much of an impact he has until he's like off the floor sort of guy.
I got one more for you. Because he's not totally underrated, but in some ways, because he got left off the All-Star team this year, and then he got added when Steph went down. But De'Aaron Fox is a guy that has stepped up his game incredible this year, and is a
Put
guy
the ball in his hands, and he's just not letting him down.
And I think he's a guy that is up and coming. And you remember back in who was it when he was with Kentucky? That it was Fox, but he was played
LaMelo.
Was it LaMelo? Yeah, all the talk was about LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
And Fox just took it to LaMelo in the tournament.
Fox is a problem right now. I mean, this dude is a legit all-star. I mean, he's not on the come up, man. This dude he's the Sacramento Kings primetime player in the fourth quarter.
Don't you think he's a little underrated?
Yeah, just a little bit, but not after you play against him.
Coming into this year, like there was definitely talks of like, okay, he's got to kind of like have that year, or else, they're talking about moving off. Because I think that, Sacramento Kings fans are like, God, like, we passed on Luka, we passed on a lot of guards because like it's
they
like
wanted to trade Fox instead of Halliburton.
Yeah. We don't want to block Fox, and then we're gonna trade Halliburton instead. But no, Fox has proven that he's a dog. He's an absolute dog.
Yeah, I agree.
Guys, good stuff tonight. I'm going to cut it right here because we are now an hour and 23 minutes in to the live stream, and it is 10 o'clock here.
See, it's 11.
Or it's 11 o'clock here. That's right. It's 10 after 11 here.
Look at the big clock there.
Larry, get home safe, man.
Thanks, Red. Hey, good stuff tonight. Great win by the Warriors. I'll say this final thought from me on this night. MF's got a suggestion for us, by the way. You guys should interview Tim Ryan. Yeah, we'll get Tim on. I promise. No, but I was just gonna say that overall, the one thing about the Warriors is that I was kind of waiting for like some indication. We got the win over Memphis earlier in the year. Then they got the big win around middle of the year over a month ago or so against the Celtics. And they've had a couple wins that give you kind of buoy you a little bit and give you hope that they can kind of flip a switch. This was another one of those kinds of games where going up against the Bucks, and I don't want to hear about there's no Giannis. There was no Giannis. Yeah, but there was no Draymond for the most part. There's no Kuminga. There's no bunch of guys were out. But this might have been one of the better wins for the year for the Warriors, and it makes you kind of feel like maybe the unthinkable can happen. Maybe they can get to the playoffs, flip a switch, and then stay healthy. My prediction is that they will get to the playoffs. They will flip that switch. They will look like a totally different team, and they will pull a first-round upset. And then I think the injuries will start to mount, and they'll check out. That's how I kind of see it going. I hope the injuries don't mount, and they get another finals run, because how great would it be? Remember how fun it was last year, guys, coming on after the Warrior playoff games all the way through to the finals? I mean, if we could have that kind of a thing, I would love it for our channel. I'd love it for our dialogue and all the fun that we could have talking about it. We had Danny's brother joining us a lot in the playoffs, which was very cool too, to get his insight on the game as he's a fountain of information when it comes to basketball. Size, passion is great. By the way, Cy texted me. He says he's taking tonight off just from Locked On and from everything. He's been overdoing it. So, Cy, we'll catch you next time. But this was the kind of game that makes you think that the Warriors could show up in the playoffs, flip a switch, and make it happen. What percentage chance do you give Golden State of winning this whole damn thing?
Without Wiggins, I give him very little.
But let's just say they'll get Wiggins back, because you're right, Danny. I think we all agree with that. There's no shot without Wiggins. But with Wiggins, what would you say? What percentage chance
20%.
would you give Warriors?
20%.
I'm gonna
Baller,
say
Frank?
I'm gonna say 50%.
50%.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 51.
Over. Lower.
Price is right. I'm going to just.
It's like Card Sharks. Remember Card Sharks? Higher. Lower.
Hey, I think you should go out tonight with Red Song. It's been a while since I've heard Red.
Yeah, we haven't played Red Song in a while.
Wow.
How do we get it? How do we play it?
And I
Where is it here?
got a new release coming in 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
I was in the studio last night.
When you were talking tonight earlier, Frank, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you were talking about a situation in the game, and it just sounded like a rap song the way you were just running it. I said, and I was thinking, oh, you should turn this into a song, man.
This guy's got rhythm.
So
do we have the video or just the audio?
It's just in the audio. I think it's under the songs, but also just for all you math people out here that are probably like 50%, what the heck? Just throwing it out there. If you do 80, if you say the Warriors have an 80% chance to win every series, so 80%, 80%, 80%, 80%, that still comes out to a 41% chance. So,
Baller, what's your percentage?
Under 50.
I went with 20. I think
20.
there's a handful of teams when we're talking Celtics, Bucks, Suns, Nuggets, kind of all. I think they're all right around 20%. So that's where I got the Warriors.
Yeah, and I think Dallas, with the whole Kyrie and think that was just that's not going to work. That's not going to work, that trade. And somebody in the comments it was a while ago, who said it. They said that maybe the most underrated player, we didn't even mention him, was Kevon Looney. Maybe.
Oh my God, I know.
Who said that?
I think it was Brian.
That was 95 Sev.
Yeah, that is a fact. I mean,
yeah,
he just does his job, man. I just respect the hell out of that guy. He just does his job.
Perfect player.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's play a little Frank song, and then we'll play some spots and get out. But it's called Makes You Feel, right, Frank?
Make You Feel.
And who would you collab with? Because we always mention that you collabed, but I always forget who it was that you collabed with.
The artist name, if anybody looks her up on YouTube, you'd be like, oh my God. I don't know how the hell she got on my record. Her name is Sonarelli, and her name is spelled Sonnarele. And she's a star, man. I mean, she's a freaking star. She's on my record, big time artist out of for Disney. Yeah, man.
Here we go. Let's play it. It's a great song. And by the way, if you want to see the video on this, because Frank's got a video up on YouTube, I think you just type in Frank Red, no space, right, Rye?
Yes.
Frank Red, no space, just Frank Red, I believe, on YouTube, and you can find it.
Your shot at life, you think there's nothing else for you to do. This ain't a tragedy, son. I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man, I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't been standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. talk, he didn't mince words, just summed the lyrics to the best song he ever heard. All his hopes and dreams had turned to despair, but what he was facing, there was no way to prepare. This came from a man who thought his life was ending. In his mind, it was serious, there was no pretending. He checked the clock on the wall before he said his goodbyes. Emitting tears, he has gone, see back into his eyes. He was old in life, there'll be no encore. He raised his hands to the heavens, put his knees on the floor. Don't have to be a genius to know he'd been blessed. He said he'd pay it forward and always do his best. At that moment, what he'd been searching for became clear. He was here to serve those who living in fear. With his newfound enlightenment and the wind at his back, he's prepared to live out his life's final act. He was a rich man now, he had purpose in life. And to capture this feeling, you don't pay a price. Before we set up on his own, he made a pledge to get some wins and live his life against the grain to the bitter end. You miss your shot at life, you think there's nothing else for you to do. This ain't a tragedy, son, I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man, I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. I said it's funny how it makes you feel. Life is but a thrill.
Hey, Rod, that was a great bit, man. Okay, let me turn it off. Rod, let me turn it off.
You miss your shot at life, you think there's nothing else for you to do.
There you go. Yo, that was
Awesome,
a great pick,
man. Frank, by the way, G-Code Travels Vlog POV says, does Kerr trust number 0 over number 3? Is that the new formula? That is interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a great point, G-Code.
Hey, that
but
song
Frank,
was
I want to ask you.
powerful,
By the way,
Frank.
Eric L. I lost this one.
I really
too.
like that. I enjoyed that song, Frank.
Yeah, Eric L. says Eric
you.
L. just became a YouTube member. Thank you for becoming a member. But Frank, I got to ask you before we end the stream here about the, about the lyrics and
Yes.
and just where. I mean, did you just come up with that one day? Does this take weeks? What is that process? I've never been a songwriter. I've never had that skill. And I know there's you want to say things a certain way. I know you're somebody who cares a lot about language and how exactly you express what you want to express. What's that process like? Do you have to adjust it to her? Does she adjust to you?
No,
You're
I actually
blabbing like
wrote
that?
the song and then I got it to her and she just kind of played around and kind of fit in where she thought was the most opportune time to do it. But off mic, I'm kind of a quiet guy. So I do a lot of like observation and a lot of my emotions are inside and I don't know, God gifted me the ability to write, man. So I feel so honored to be able to express myself in that way. But I listen to the Carole Kings of the world, the Tracy Chapmans of the world, the Stevie Wonders, all the great songwriters. And I'm honest. As a songwriter, I think you really got to be honest with your listeners. And I'm not afraid to express myself in any way. And it's not an easy process, but like that particular song probably took me about a month to write. Yeah.
Nick Jace is curious to know Frank Red's top 5 rappers, dead or alive. Who's on your playlist? Who's the highlight reel?
I'm going to say
Ryan and I asked this question to a number of
Jay-Z,
Niner players this year, by the way.
Jay-Z, Nas to me.
What do we hear a lot of, Ryan? We heard, was it Don Toliver or
the youngins are into Future and
Future?
Yeah.
A lot of people said, I forget the other one.
Who was the guy that kept saying? Future got a bunch of mentions.
Ice Cube. You know what? I mean, we are blessed to have so many great rappers. I mean, Eminem is up there. J. Cole's up there. Lauryn Hill's up there. I mean,
I'm a big Lil Wayne guy. I love me some Wayne.
Yeah, he got a bunch of fans, man. There's so many talented rappers, but nobody to me has captured a particular era and scene the way that Jay-Z did to make it entertaining. Nas is somebody who I mean, to me, I can listen to Nas, Jay-Z, Kanye West. I'm telling you, listen, Kanye doesn't write a lot, apparently, but I tell you what, Kanye West's catalog, his albums are just crazy, man. Kanye's a
So Frank, I'm in high school, right? I'm like it's 19, meet up with these two girls and they're like, hey, we're going to a party. I'm like, all right. And they're like, where's the party? And they're like, it's the St. Francis Hotel down in Union Square. And I'm like, so, I mean, I've been to a bunch of parties, but I haven't been to a party at St. Francis Hotel. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I go, whose party? Oh, it's a friend of mine. We walk into the party. It's Too Short's party.
Okay. Yeah.
and his name's Todd. I didn't know his name.
Yeah. Getting it.
And you know, it was a good party, but it was also, you know, I'm a huge Too Short fan. Mm-hmm. So where do you put Short Dog? Where do you put him on the list?
I don't put him on the list. I just put him on the legendary category. I mean, he is literally one of the forefathers of hip hop. He invented a sound. He invented a style. You know how many babies Too Short has? Too Short has more sons and daughters maybe than any rapper alive.
What, he's like Zeus or something?
No, I mean, like figuratively.
Oh, I got you.
No, musically. I mean, what Too Short does, his style of rap and what he's talking about, that became a thing. There's actually more popular now in this era of hip hop than it was when Too Short was in his prime. I just think he's a legend. I wouldn't put him on the list, but I think everybody from every region all over the world respect the hell out of that guy because he is one of the few original artists in hip hop. I mean, you can only be number one time.
What? Okay, Mount Rushmore of Bay Area rappers.
Oh,
yeah,
Too Short,
E40 and Too Short.
Too Short, E40.
Andre Nicotina.
You know what? Andre's a friend of mine, man.
No way.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
I've been bumping
cool.
so much.
His name is Dre. His name is Dre.
Yeah,
where's rapping Fote on that list?
Fote, you know, I mean, obviously you got to put Tupac there as well.
To me, he should be near the top of the list. That's just my opinion.
I mean, there's so many.
What do you think about Mac Dre? I know he's such a unique sound.
Again, man, Mac Dre is a legend. He's a cult favorite. I mean, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But again, he created a sound that started to manifest itself around the country. So, I mean, he's part of the fabric of hip hop. Mac Dre's right there. I can't think of the guy from San Francisco. I can't think of his name right now. Who
Frank,
awesome.
when are we getting the dungeon, man? When are we getting the dungeon remix?
Well,
because you're more than welcome to do the dungeon on this channel.
Let me say this
anytime you want.
Let me say this. It's going to happen. I am so honored to have that opportunity. And, you know, you got to understand, Larry, you're the standard at this point. You can't bullshit this, you know. And when I did the dungeon, it was the most important thing in my life at that particular time. And as a result, I mean, I'm not braggadocious, but I was number one for 10 years. You know, in my particular time slot.
It's a great freaking show. I don't Baller. I don't know if you ever heard the dungeon.
I wish
Danny,
I had.
I'm sure has not. Rye probably never heard it, but Frank did a show on KHTK Sunday nights 7 to 10. Was it?
Yeah, it was like 7 to 9, 7 to 10.
7 to 9.
Basically,
7 to 10.
The essence of the show was I did sports. I did all sports.
Right.
And I played hip hop music. I played 70s groove. I did a whole lot of different things. And I think an iteration of the show this time around will change a little bit, but a lot of those core elements will still be there. But like I said before, you know, Larry, you and I have known each other for a long time. You are busting your tail to make this show what it is, which is why it's great. And, you know, I got to ramp up. I got to get ready for that. But once I do it, again, it would be the most important thing for me. So I appreciate the opportunity. And I'll say this. At the latest by the summer.
Yeah.
At the latest, maybe even earlier, but the latest by the summer, I'm so excited about the opportunity because there's nothing more fun than what we're doing right now. You know, when I get called on this show,
just chopping it up.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm here, Barry Baller, to build relationships with Rye and Dan and all the listeners. You know, see, I'm a guy, I don't really care about, oh, we got this guest coming on. I don't really care about that. I care about the listeners.
Yeah.
You know how many people show up every show that you do? Is that incredible to have 15,000 people showing up or tuning in?
MF is in the chat right here. MF's there a lot.
Man.
We got regulars all the time. I'm loving. Hey, one of my favorite guys on our chat is this guy right here, 95.7 Brian, who's a very good guy.
Yeah,
he says the dungeon's better than the jungle.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you, brother.
Maybe more people have heard of the jungle than the dungeon, but the dungeon rocked, man. It was tremendous. What I loved about it, it was just so organic and real. And your pacing on the mic in your interviews as you interspersed music and commentary was, and Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say there were many nights where you had 2 or 3 live guests with you, people, and nobody's stepping on anybody. It had a really relaxed flow, an awesome tempo. And, as I said, I can't wait to hear it again. I know there's lots of people. I've talked to people up in SAC from KHTK and people who know you and know me and who have heard your show in the past, and they'd be like, "Man, it's cool that you have Red on." I was talking to Guru. I don't know how well you know Guru, but
we
Guru's
communicate.
a big fan of yours.
Yeah. I'm
and
a big
I was
fan
like, man,
of
Guru. I was like, Guru, I want to get the dungeon on the Krug show and let Frank do his thing because I know it will be successful. I know it will be.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Mike Ramey, the program director at KHGK.
Yeah, and
at that particular time, who hired me, man, he changed my life.
And in the same way, I'm helping Rye and Dan get their channel going, or Danny's channel going. If you wanted to do your own channel, you know, I would do what I can to help you grow that thing as fast as possible. So. Anyway, fellas, long drive tomorrow, so I'm gonna call it right here. I'm gonna play a couple spots, but I'll say goodbye to both of you guys and let you get on with your night. Frank, good to see you, man. Have a great night. Take care.
Hey, had a blast, Larry. Love talking ball with you, and I'll leave you with the note. We're about to get a lot of NFL news coming out here soon, Larry, with the start of free agency around the corner. So it'll be active on my channel, breaking down all the NFL moves. And Larry, I appreciate you always having me on and letting me plug my channel, Bay Area Baller.
Tell people right now, plug it right now, Baller.
Yeah.
Tell people if they want to, if they're on you. Sorry about that. Muted myself. Tell people where they can find your channel, and of course, Danny and Rye's new channel is NorCal Sports Network, and Danny's putting a lot of his Giants interviews on there. And you know, it's a great listen. But Baller, you've been rolling with this for a while. Tell people how they can find it.
Yeah. Type in Bay Area Baller, one word on YouTube. I'll pop right up, talking a lot of NFL, 49ers, Warriors. So, hey, if you love sports, and I love interacting with the community, there's such a good YouTube community that wants to interact. And there's a lot of smart folks on here. So come over to my channel and we'll talk ball. Hey, Larry, thanks for having me on, and we'll talk soon. Drive safe.
All right, bro. Good seeing you, man. Thank you.
You too.
Baller's the man. Hendricks says Larry puts everyone on. Real shit. Yeah, you know what? What I do is I put people who have talent on. So there you go. And you know, we're loyal to our friends, and we're loyal to our sponsors. And let me tell you, the title sponsor of the show today is Pig in a Pickle. Check them out in Marin County. They're in Corte Madera. Check them out. They got a phenomenal spot in Corte Madera. They're you know, it's absolutely if you love barbecue, you're going to love Pig in a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week in Marin. They're open Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. And, you can go brisket by the pound. You can go pulled pork by the pound. You can baby back ribs, barbecue chicken, homemade sausage links. I mean, it's just amazing. Great food. Potato salad, coleslaw. My kid loves the white cheddar mac and cheese. The beef brisket chili is amazing. They do catering, craft beers, kid sandwiches, family meals. It's a great spot, man. Damon and Mary, owners of Pig in a Pickle, are great people, and they have a great restaurant. And just like having a YouTube channel, you got to work at this, you got to work at that. People in the restaurant business work freaking hard. And they do. And that's why it's such a great restaurant. So check it out. Whether you're in the Bay, go there tomorrow in Emeryville or Corte Madera. If you're not in the Bay, as a lot of people listening on YouTube could be from around the country, next time you're in the Bay, check out Pig in a Pickle, and you will not be disappointed. I love me some Pig in a Pickle. And thanks to Damon and Mary for being proud sponsors of the Krug Show. But yeah, it's the one thing about a restaurant is like you can talk about it all day and all night, but if the food isn't good, nobody cares. And that's the thing with Pig in a Pickle. The food is phenomenal. And here's a little video from Pig in a Pickle. Couple other notes. Thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics.co for being a sponsor of the show as well. TELMETRIX.co. Now, what is Telmetrics? It's basically a website you can go to help you rehab your injuries. If you're a weekend warrior and you hurt your shoulder and you don't want to go to ER and you're not going to urgent care and you're at home and you're in some pain and you're looking to have some information so that you can kind of help yourself rehabilitate, you can go to Telmetrics.co. Telmetrix.co. Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics do a phenomenal job. And here's a message from Telmetrics.co. Welcome back to the Krug Show, coming down the home stretch. And last but certainly not least, we need to thank our sponsor who is sponsoring our trip to spring training to Scottsdale. And we are here in Scottsdale this week, courtesy of our friends at New York Style Sausage Company, often imitated, never equaled. Thanks to Mike and Pasquale and Laura and all the good people at New York Style Italian Sausage. And man, New York Style Sausage Company, whether it's the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo, the breakfast sausage, I mean, whether you get it in links or if you get it out of the links, man, it is phenomenal. It is a high quality product. In fact, I've got so much confidence in New York Style Italian sausage that all I would say to anybody is just try it. Just try it one time and you'll be a fan for life. And here's a message from our good friend Mike D'Ambrosio from New York Style Italian Sausage.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York Style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
And do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York Style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it, guaranteed.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. And thanks to everybody. We went over 15,000 subs today on our trip to Scottsdale, and it's been a very successful week here in Scottsdale. We back in the Bay Area. Remember, Monday, NFL free agency gets going. Grant Cohn is going to stop by on Monday. Also on Monday night, Damon Bruce is going to stop by on the Krug Show. So Monday is going to be big, man. We're going to do some videos. We're going to talk a lot of football, NFL free agency, who's going where, how does it affect the 49ers. Grant's going to stop by in Monday afternoon, and we'll break it all down on the Krug Show channel. So looking forward to having Mr. Cohn on the show on Monday. And then Monday night, Damon Bruce is going to be in the house. Damon Bruce is no longer at 95.7 The Game. He's starting his own YouTube channel. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk a little sports, talk a little Warriors, talk a little all things Bay Area sports. Then we'll get into his thoughts on where his career is going next. And he's a real talented guy. So I'm looking forward to that. So check that out Monday. We won't really be doing anything tomorrow other than you might see some videos released on the channel tomorrow, because tomorrow is a long drive. Rob C says, great show, Larry. Have a safe drive home. Yeah, we're doing a 13-hour extravaganza. So I'm going to crash right now. Have a great night to everybody. And we'll see you Monday on the Krug Show. And until then, we're out.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back.